Hello everyone, my name is Muscle Maurice, and today I'll be covering 4 teenage fitness myths that just won't die. The first is that strength training will make you shorter. This idea mostly comes from older concerns about something called growth plates, areas of cartilage at the ends of your bones that are still developing when you're a teenager. People assumed that putting weight on them would damage them and stop you from growing, but here's the key point. Normal, super fast strength training does not damage growth plates. What actually can damage them is an acute injury, like a bad fall, a collision in sports, or trying to ego lift something way too heavy with terrible form. In fact, newer research shows the opposite of this myth. Proper resistance training can strengthen bones, improve coordination, and overall actually reduce injury risk in young athletes. Lifting doesn't stunt growth, but bad training does cause problems. Learn the proper technique and progress gradually. The second myth is that you have to train to failure every set to build muscle. This one sounds hardcore and actually does have a scientific backing, so people gravitate towards it. Training to failure means you keep going until you physically cannot complete another rep. And yes, it is true that in isolation, this does cause the most muscle growth, but you have to look at this with the context of the rest of your training. For one, the immediate effects of going to absolute failure on your first set mean that you can't train as hard for the following ones. Training to failure also has larger effects on your recovery, keeping you from being ready when it comes to your next lift. In fact, you can even train so hard that you enter rhabdomyolysis, where your muscle breaks down, enters your bloodstream, and can kill you. But that probably won't happen. If you do want to implement some failure training, I'd recommend doing it for the final set of a given exercise or muscle group, so that the extra fatigue doesn't affect the rest of your training. Because it will only be a few sets, there won't be a larger scale recovery issue. The third myth is the anabolic window. There's this idea that you have to consume 30 grams of protein within an hour of your workout, or you won't grow. And I used to believe this. I'd get home from school, go to the gym, drink a protein shake, and then wouldn't be hungry for dinner an hour later, so my mom would get kind of mad at me. But I could have avoided all that. Your body doesn't just stop building muscle after 60 minutes. Muscle protein synthesis stays elevated for up to 2 days after you train. However, there is a spike after you lift, but that spike happens in about 2.5 to 3 hours after the lift, so you should have plenty of time. And despite that spike, what actually matters is your total protein intake across the day, not whether you eat at minute 45 or 85. Now, timing does matter a little. For example, it's better to split your daily protein up into a few smaller meals throughout the day rather than having a really big one at night. The anabolic window is also probably more important if you're training fasted. But for most people, in most situations, especially if you ate a meal a couple hours before your workout, there's no real urgency. The fourth myth is that you need pre-workout to have a good training session. I see way too many people scooping pre-workout for their evening lift. It may make the lift itself better, but that's nowhere near worth the detriment to your sleep quality. Pre-workout usually just refers to caffeine and a few added ingredients that might slightly alter alertness or focus or pump. So yes, caffeine can help you feel more awake and improve performance a bit, but the idea that you need it to train is false. Most of your energy in the gym should come from more basic things like how much you've slept and what you've been eating. If those are off, no supplement is going to fix that. So, if you walk into the gym rested and fueled, you don't need a scoop to unlock a good workout. You just train. I think this myth sticks around because it's profitable and it makes training feel more complicated than it actually is. It's simple. Pre-workout can be optional, but sleep, food, and consistency are essential. With that, Muscle Maurice signing off.